Hey everybody, my name is Earl Wisco, and I thought I would tell you a little about my favorite musical instrument, the Hurdy Gurdy. Um, this is an instrument that was from medieval and Renaissance Europe. It was kind of the medieval dance instrument. It has melody strings and drone strings that harmonize with the melody, as well as a little wooden bridge here that buzzes and can be used to create a percussive rhythm. So it was perfect as a solo instrument, and these instruments are rare nowadays, but you can still find them around. And I'm actually very lucky to have found this one, because this was at a music store here in Southern Oregon, and it was completely broken. They sold it to me in as-is condition. I took it upon myself to learn how to fix it, and I learned a lot about this musical instrument that way, and it was really great. I purchased this one with the intent to fix it as a trial to see if this was actually a musical instrument I would like to invest more time and effort into, and fixing it up gave me a really strong connection with this instrument, and I know now that this is definitely an instrument that I would love to pursue in a more professional manner. This particular one is really great as a basic instrument, but unfortunately this one wasn't made by a professional luthier, so it's starting to show its limitations. This one is great as an introductory piece, but as my skill with the instrument is growing, I'm finding myself more and more limited musically. Most noticeably, there's only one row of keys here, and this is akin to a piano only having the white keys, none of the black keys. That's the same basic principle, and most, if not all, contemporary hurdy-gurdies should have a second row of keys up here, which would allow them to play effectively the black notes of the piano. So this one here is diatonic. It only plays in one key. If a song requires a key change in the middle of the song, I really can't play it because I would have to retune the entire instrument. However, on a contemporary hurdy-gurdy with the second row of keys, you could change keys just like you could, a pianist could. You just change which notes you're pressing, and that would change the key of your instrument. The keys also, because this one was not made by a professional, the holes are just a little bit too big for the keys, and you can hear they click and rattle a whole lot, and that's very, very bad, especially if you're playing outside or somewhere where the melody strings will kind of get lost. They won't reverberate around the room as much. These keys actually end up being almost louder than the melody, which is very, very problematic. It's also an issue because these little keys, since they don't fit, they rotate quite a bit in their little socket, and that's really bad because that means they don't accurately hit their notes every time, which is very frustrating. I can play this one note, and you can hear how badly that's changing the sound just by rotating it, and that's very, very bad in the middle of a song. If you can't accurately hit that note every single time, it can just throw your whole song off. If it's going beautifully, beautifully, and then you just hit that note up there. It's also really frustrating because, as a musician, this limits the top quarter, top third of my musical notes that I'm able to play with this. This limits me to effectively just an octave of playable notes, which isn't, it's not terrible. It's definitely better than 2, but, sorry. Yes, it's very frustrating musically to be limited to only 1 octave of notes. It would be good to have the full birth of sound. Also, as I'm sure you heard while I was demonstrating that last, it got really scratchy and awful. That's because this crank actually rotates this rosin-covered wheel, which rubs the strings, much like a violin bow. However, this crankshaft is loose, and you can see that wheel will move. Oftentimes while playing, it'll get pulled out just a little bit, and then it won't line up properly with the cotton, which softens the sound and keeps it from sounding so scratchy and terrible. A professionally made one would be well fitted, and this one, since it's made by an enthusiast, isn't fitted properly. Also, the wheel itself isn't actually on the center of that crankshaft, so sometimes when I'm turning the crank, there's certain parts of the wheel that rub the string more so than others, which can create the same kind of too harsh, scratchy sound as like a violinist pressing too hard with their bow. All of these things really kind of drag down the playability of this instrument outside of a basic understanding of how the instrument works. But even then, I've learned an awful lot using this instrument. I've played on street corners and at the farmer's market here, which has also taught me a lot, playing in front of other people and learning this instrument on the fly also from my research. And I've definitely learned that this is an instrument I definitely want to pursue. It's so unique, it's interesting, it's got a haunting sound, and it's just so wonderful to be able to explain to people this instrument because it is so rare. Almost nobody knows what it is, or if they know what it is, they've never really seen one, or they don't understand how it works. They only know that it is a hurdy-gurdy, but they don't know what that really means. And I am definitely interested in pursuing this instrument further in a almost more of a professional sense. I really want to become a hurdy-gurdy player and not only entertain people with it, but also to educate them about this wonderful instrument of a day gone by. As I said, I've been playing on street corners and at the farmer's market, and all of the money I've saved up that way is all going to help purchase a professional quality instrument, because this one is very great as a beginner's piece, but from a musician's standpoint, it is very, very limiting, and I would love to be able to afford a professional quality instrument that has a well-made body, everything fits perfectly together, and has a beautiful tone, so I can share this instrument that I love so much with everyone else, and not risk it sounding really bad and turning them off from it forever. So I don't know if you've seen me playing around town and seen the flyer that I have when I play, or if maybe you're just a kind stranger passing on through and had a curiosity about this. But I implore you, if live music has ever made a difference in your life, to please help me pursue what I love so I can share my joy with everyone else who gets to hear what I do and what I love, so I can... Miley! Why? I implore you, if live music has ever made a difference in your life, to please help support me do what I love so I can share what I love with others, and I can entertain and enlighten, educate people for years to come with a well-crafted instrument of a day long gone. Thank you.